I want to talk about message to the black culture critics. Stop giving advice and life lessons to black people if you have no love for black people and you hate and despise black people.
Right.
Because I noticed there's a lot of that going on. And what I did was I wanted to go to the dictionary, because I always like when people use words, like when they say I'm a cultural critic. Let's go to the dictionary and see what critique means.
Come on with it.
What is critique? Critique is a detailed analysis and assessment of something, especially a literary, philosophical, or political theory. And then it says that's the noun of critique, and the verb is evaluate, a theory or practice in a detailed and analytical way. Now, the purpose of critique is to make something better.
Right.
Oops.
Yes, sir.
Because already off the bat, most people don't fall under the definition of critics or critique. Because if you're a critic, what are you critiquing for?
Right.
What is the purpose of your critique? And this is the thing that I've, like the brother from Philadelphia, Dale Jones, he always had a, rest in peace. He had a great way of putting it. He said that he always offers criticism with affection rather than criticism to break something down or break someone down.
Right.
And I've tried to do that. Like when you critique, because I'm a writer, and nothing I like better than good, honest, productive critique.
Right.
And you know that you're getting that when, if you write something and it's not good, a person can read it, know that it's not good, and then give you an alternate way to write it. That's good, positive critique. Bad critique is when somebody reads something and goes, "Oh, this sucks."
Right.
Okay,
right.
It sucks. All right, so then what can I do to fix it? Well, I don't know. You're the writer. That's not good critique. That's that doesn't fall under critique. That falls under hatred.
No doubt.
That falls under people trying to break you down. Because if I'm going to critique something and if I'm going to break something down, I'm going to offer an alternative if I see that the person is not doing it right.
Right.
So already based on what I just said, do you see a problem?
Yes, sir.
With the people that's calling themselves culture critics? The words that they use, the terminology that they use to describe not only the condition, but to describe the people.
Yes.
So, what's your take on these cultural critics and the topic of the show, basically, the first half?
First off, I always be amazed at how you be coming up with these topics because they always be timely, and they are always, like, I would say, indigenous to your personality. So I could always, when I look at your topics, I always say, yep, that's a Harlem topic right there. Word up. But for me, you know what I'm saying, I got excited when I first saw this. I was like, yeah, let's get into that. You know, brother, I'll say this to you in a couple of things. Culture critics. Why do people who just basically put down or slander people, black people, call themselves culture critics? I think that you're the one that helped me to understand that living in America, we really don't have a culture as a people. We have a manufactured culture that's been given to us by the made man. And so because of that, anytime that you try to criticize the culture of a people that is in captivity, then really you're starting out with two left feet because you can't not really properly criticize the people. If the goal to criticize is to help and uplift, and the people are victims of an oppressive culture to begin with, and it's not theirs, it's made up, it's given to them, and they are afflicted by it, then you really can't be honest in critique. Because it's just like me saying to you, like, let's just say, for instance, you completely copied somebody else's style of writing. And I started criticizing you, saying, brother, you could have did this, you could have that, you could have did this. Well, none of my criticism is ever going to help you because you're just biting anyway. You're just copying.
Right.
So you'd be sitting there and you'd be fake nodding like, yeah, that's good. I'm going to do that next time. But in reality, I would have to criticize the person that you're stealing from in order for it to be effective because it's not your style, it's his style. I think it's the same way when a quote-unquote so-called culture critic tries to criticize black people in America. I'm not saying that we need to be left off the hook for some of the stuff that we do. I'm not saying that we need to be excused for some of the stuff that we do, a lot of the stuff that we do. But what I am saying is that it's the manner and the tone in which you criticize that, to me, is more important than even what you say, because what I learned, speaking in front of people and speaking to people, is that your tone of voice and your disposition when you speak to people determines even if they're listening to you or not. So you can think really that you have a lot of people listening to what you're saying when you're quote-unquote culture critics, but the true reality of it is that people are just turning you off. Some people are coming because they think that you're not talking about them, so they want to hear you put somebody else down. Some people will come just for the fight. And the ones that you really need to reach are never going to listen to you because they're always going to take your disposition as well as your tone as being condescending and say, I don't want to listen to that person in the first place.
Right. Right. 100% correct. Because it's all about the spirit in which you're coming with the critique.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. Because you can get Stephen A. Smith to critique black culture.
Mm-hmm.
What spirit is it going to be coming from? You can get Charles Barkley to critique black culture. You can get Sheriff David Clark to critique. You can get Herman Cain, Ben Carson,
right,
Stacey Dash.
Right.
Everybody can be can critique black culture, but what is the spirit that they come in and they approaching the culture from?
Mm-hmm.
And
Indeed.
I think we got our brother with us.
You're
dead.
Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second, bro.
Okay. Want me to put you back on hold?
No, I'm gonna mute my phone for a second, then I'll come right in.
Okay. Yeah, it's like and it's so funny because this topic came about on In the Paint as usual.
Mm-hmm.
We was talking in overtime, and I was just thinking, like they had an open mic session, like where they were just, having whatever topics come to mind, and it was something that I've been thinking about for a while, and I was talking about between Martin Luther King and Malcolm X,
right,
and I noticed as I studied more and just went through life, I noticed how I was repeating, like when it came to unity amongst African people, like amongst the diaspora and on the continent, I was sounding more like Martin Luther King than I was Malcolm X.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I was like,
I
was saying to myself, man, if you take Martin Luther King's and what he was saying and apply it to African people, what he's saying makes perfect sense.
Right.
The only thing that messed it up is when he was trying to include white people in it.
Exactly.
But if you take them out of the equation, you know what I'm saying? Then what he's saying makes perfect sense, and it's actually the stuff that me and you, and the topics that we cover and the things that we talk about tend to mirror his philosophy.
Yes.
But it's within the context of African people. What do you think about that?
Well, man, brother, first off, being a member of the Nation of Islam, an active member, I know some history about Malcolm X. Mind you, I love Malcolm X for the 10-plus years that he was a member of the Nation of Islam. He was Minister Malcolm X. What many people have always told me is that Malcolm was very, very tough on just about anybody. The stories are legendary. They say Malcolm X, would run into NGT in the temple and say, "Are you overweight, sister?" Like, Malcolm was very, very tough. And it doesn't mean I don't love his speaking style. It doesn't mean I don't love the work that he did and his passion. But he was very tough and very, very sharp with his criticism. Martin Luther King more so came from a spirit. You could tell that he came from a spirit of trying to rehabilitate, to pull up. You know, my children was having this big dispute just now, and I guess my youngest daughter called me to try to get me to come over and settle it because she was kind of getting nervous and scared. So when that happened, my oldest daughter called her a snitch. I said, see, this is the thing that I want you to work on. I said, you are always trying to impose your view on other people first before you understand other people's view. I think when you're really a culture critic, you seek first to understand before you're understood. And that's the kind of spirit I think that you get from Martin Luther King, because he's always trying to understand why you're in the situation that you're in, why you're doing what you're doing, and that way he can help you. When you're a quote-unquote culture critic, according to a lot of these phonies and bozos that we've seen out here, you just basically imposing your views and ideas on other people, and it's a scorched earth kind of way you deal with it. You just like, yo, you know what? I'm saying this. You got to deal with it. I don't care how you deal with it. And the one thing that you hear a lot, I mean, I had this sister on my friends list as a prominent quote-unquote Muslim, and she says, you ain't got to like me. No, we don't have to like you, and we don't. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you say things like you ain't got to like me, you automatically, that means, warning, I'm getting ready to be an asshole. You ain't got to like me, warning. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, you know, I just think that it is really, really true that outside of the integration part and outside of the, you know, little black boys with little white girls, like you said on that video, quite frankly, little black boys with little black girls is the vision of African. That's what we're trying to do. It's a beautiful vision. And if you have that dream of little black boys and little black girls being able to walk to school together and things like that in peace and love, I mean, that's the ultimate vision of any black conscious group, but definitely the AIO on the land of our own off the shores of America.
Right. I agree. You back? You with us, Steph?
Yeah, I'm here.
I was wanting to get your thoughts on this concept of the person doing the critiquing having some love for the people that they criticize.
Or thought of what? I mean, that's the best. That's the only way to critique somebody. You got to give love in the critique. The critique is not to condemn. You know what I'm saying? But some of these fools, all they know how to do is condemn. Like some people that we run with. You know what I'm saying? All they know how to do is just condemn instead of just speak and show love.
We'll talk.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, in everything that you do, doesn't mean that you got to have a negative vibe from every. First of all, what first thing every individual in the world needs to learn is that we're all individuals. None of us think or act alike. We have our own minds, our own thoughts, and everything. So my thoughts are going to definitely be different from yours. Now, you can agree with my thoughts or you can disagree with my thoughts, but you got the right to do either or.
Huh.
And so if you got the right to do either or, there's no need for a negative vibe or for something that you just don't agree with.
Right.
If I don't like what you're talking about, I can't say, well, I hate that nigga Minister Dawood because I don't like what he's talking about. All I can do is say is, well, I don't agree, but I understand where you're coming from.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not condemning what you're talking about. But, you know, we're so quick to point a finger at each other. Stockholm Syndrome is deep within our people. So this is where it comes from. You know what I mean? And some of us have super educations and we have deep Stockholm Syndrome. And that's just crazy, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I've always said, Dev, is righteousness transcends ideology.
All day long. All day long.
That's powerful.
Because I can tell you, like, there was a guy, he retired, but he was at my job. And this guy, he was an older Italian dude, right? His name was Mike. And Mike was a right-wing conservative. Now, picture me at a job with a right-wing conservative, right? Mike was the coolest dude at the job. The coolest dude at the job. Even though politically we weren't on the same page, as a person, he was cool.
Right.
Yeah, because he was sure about what he believed in, and that's it. First of all, people who critique people negatively is not sure about what they believe in. That's what the problem is.
Word.
So they got to fight what you're saying because they're not even sure about what they're saying.
Yeah, it does stem from that insecurity. You're right about that.
Yeah, that's what it comes
because
from.
why? Like I saw a movie one time, and this. Oh man, I wish I could remember the name of the movie. But this guy, he was playing like a talk show host, and he was like one of these shock jocks. You know, like he insult the guests, and all for ratings and stuff. So he got one call. It was a lady who called him. She had a really calm voice, and it kind of disarmed his hyped up personality. And she said, "You know what? I want to ask you a question. Why does someone who's obviously intelligent as you are spend so much of their time hurting other people?" And he couldn't even answer. The lady, the caller, called him, and she asked him, she said, "I want to ask you a question. Why does someone who is as intelligent as you are spend so much of their time hurting other people?"
Because he's not intelligent. He's not sure of his intelligence. When you have to belittle a person to make yourself stand over, then you're not on the level that you claim yourself to be.
That's true.
And I've had conversations with certain people, you know what I'm saying, and I was telling them, like, bro, some of the stuff you say makes you try to think that you're smarter than what you are when you really look a real dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't critique people and not be able to take somebody else's understanding or next to yours. When you think you got all the answers, I got a friend of mine. This dude, you can't tell him nothing. He's like Sway. You ain't got all the answers, Sway. He got the answer to everything. And he'd be dead ass wrong, but he got the answer to everything. So what I do now with him, I just let him talk. And then he asks you for a response. I said, respond for what? You got all the answers, bro. There's no need for me to talk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got all the answers.
Yeah, you do the same thing I do. I use the same technique when I'm at my job. It's like when somebody calls, you call in because you're trying to get help, but then you're dominating the phone call. So I'm like, I just sit back and listen because obviously you know what you got to do. Why are you calling here?
Why are you calling me? You already know what to do. I'm just sitting there listening.
Man, brother. And that's the thing is, like, if you've grown up in a poor or semi-poor environment, whatever, it doesn't matter. And if you grow up in New York City, you could be well-to-do but still grow up around poor people. Or you could be poor and grow around well-to-do people. It doesn't matter. And you have seen a lot of stuff, man, out there. A lot of people going through a lot of stuff. And it's humbling. It makes you really, really sit back and say, man, if I'm going to help my people, like, this is the context in which I got to help my people out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember years ago, brother, being out there selling papers. This was not that long ago. It was like maybe 4 years ago. And I had a sister who was out there. She was on that crack, and she was prostituting her body, dropped a death certificate at my feet while I was selling papers to one of her babies. The baby was a miscarriage, and basically, for whatever reason, her body couldn't handle it. She dropped it on the floor and walked away, never came back and got it. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you see. And for me, like, that motivates me to try to make the world a little bit a better place, because what are you supposed to do after somebody does that in front of you? You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to post it on World Star and laugh at it?
No.
So for me, it's like,
Let me tell you something.
When you look at that sister, you know what I'm saying, that just passed away. Let me just say this real quick. That sister that they just, the police basically just murdered.
Right. Corinne Goins. Yeah.
we all have a very, a diverse friend list, like people from all walks of life and stuff like that. Man, you got to know there's some people in there, and they are using this video and this death to try to take shots at Morris science ideology. I'm like, you're an idiot, dude. Like, somebody lost their life. Not only did somebody lose their life, they lost their life in front of their child. And the only thing that you can do is post this video and try to take a shot against Morris science temple ideology. Like, that's important to you? And to me, that speaks volumes of you as an individual. If you can't look at the tragedy of a mother, I don't give a damn what you think about the situation. You may think that she was aggressive, whatever you think. That's a black mother that died in front of her child. And for you to use that as a talking point against Morris science, to me, makes you, you got to look at yourself and ask yourself, what kind of person am I?
To help with Morris science, if you got any knowledge, wisdom, or understanding, you would know that if they don't bring a warrant squad to issue a traffic warrant. You don't bring a warrant squad. So they came there to execute her.
Right. So,
you know what I'm saying? You brought the SWAT team for a traffic warrant. They usually put a boot on your car for a traffic warrant. So, but people want to point fingers and shit, but they don't never look deep into the program. It's a damn shame, bro.
Right.
Those people are called ideologues.
Yeah, no, they call idiots. That's what they call. I don't give them props. They call.
They're
idiots. My thing is this, y'all. In order to be a teacher, the first rule you got to learn, you got to get it to learn. So I don't care who you are. Whenever you're a teacher, if you're a teacher that does not learn, that's not learning, continue to learn, you're not a real teacher. You're a waste of time.
Yes, sir. And this dude I'm talking about, this dude is like what's called a well-respected person in the conscious community with like 4 books out, man.
And that answers my question. That answers my question right there. You don't need to say no more. You don't need to say no more. If the conscious community was as conscious as they believe themselves to be, we wouldn't have half the problems we have today.
True talk.
Let's keep it 100.
Word.
Yeah, it's like I'll give you an example of hypocrisy. The Republicans, right? And I'll use one of them as an example. I'll use Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh was for the Iraq War.
Right.
Donald Trump comes out against the Iraq War. So now Rush Limbaugh is against the Iraq War. So what you're saying is your team Republican. It doesn't matter whether they're right or whether they're wrong. You're going to support whoever has the R in front of their name. So you'll be contradictory and a hypocrite and flip-flop back and forth on a position simply because of who's saying it. So under those circumstances, Barack Obama can't do anything, nothing that would make them go, yeah, you know what, that was a good decision.
Yeah, of course.
Because he has a D in front of his name. See, those people have no principles. And this is why, I tell people, I like getting sources of information from everywhere. I like getting it from the left, I like getting it from the right, and I like getting it from in between. But the problem is I can't get credible sources on the right because they all lie. They all spin. If the Democrats will spin, but at least they'll provide facts to their stories. They don't lie about the basic information of a story. They can spin it, because that's what, if you're on the left or if you're whatever, you try to spin things in your direction. I don't have a problem with that. But how about the facts? What are the facts of the story? And see, that's why it's kind of hard to and those people that you describe in Minister, they're ideologues, just like Rush Limbaugh, just like Sean Hannity. They don't care about the black woman or her child. All they see is an opportunity to take a jab at an ideology that they've been debating and fighting against.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yes, sir.
It's called publicity. It gives them more publicity. Okay, now we got something to talk about. We can turn this into something even bigger.
I would just, like that. Like I said, the whole topic came from that in the paint over time, where I just felt like, as I get older, man, I just you get pick your battles. You know what I mean, Minister?
Yes. Yes.
Like a lot of times you would
Yes,
be
sir.
so hardcore and whatever. It's like I pick my battles, and I'm trying to win people over. I'm not trying to isolate people.
Right.
You want to bring people. You want to have a Big Ten approach so that you can bring in the most amount of people, and those people can be influenced. But if you keep having these lines in the sand where, you know, thou shalt not pass, it's like then you're going to be standing there by yourself. You know, everything is not a line in the freaking sand. I mean, there's certain things, like if anybody comes out against land, infrastructure, nationhood, then that's a line in the sand.
Right.
But tactics, I mean, those can be negotiated.
You cannot build an empire by yourself. I don't care who you are.
That's right. You need help. You need people that's willing to work. And you have to have, and the most important thing, and this is what I put in that video, if you don't have a vision for the future, nobody should be listening to you.
Word.
Exactly.
If everything out of your mouth is doom and gloom and agony, then why should anybody be listening to you?
Good question. Good question.
Like, what is the purpose? What is it? Remember what we was talking about before, Minister, about this 100-year crap?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the reason?
Yeah, all we talking about
years.
the dudes like, oh, it's going to, you know, we're not going to be able to have our own nation for like 100 years, and it's like, shit. Then I might as well not join, or I might as well give up my
might as well quit now. Yeah, I might as well quit now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's go to the club and get some ass. Why are you wasting my time with this nationhood shit?
Right. Let me go to the club and get some ass. Fuck this nationhood shit. I want to be up in the club every week riding some booty.
You know, these are the type of motivational people we have in our so-called community. You know, nothing can be done because the white man's going to destroy it.
Right.
And this is what you're preaching to the people, and then people are wondering why the people's spirit is broken.
The white man is Thanos, yo. The white man is Thanos. This is what he is. He's the greatest.
Sometimes I don't know, man.
If I sat and waited for the white man to give me permission to do whatever I want to do, I would have nothing today. I wouldn't have a damn thing.
What's your opinion of culture critics, Dev?
You know what? Maybe about 2-3 years ago, dog, I probably would have had an answer for you. But now, critical people and unpositive people, I pay no attention. So I have no opinion on them. I just believe that they are the fools that they are, and that's who they are, and that's it. Plain and simple. I really don't have, like, anything to say about them. Because anybody who, first of all, if you have to criticize somebody for what they're doing and you're doing nothing, it just tells me a whole lot about you. And that's just where it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, and I've said this before, that I personally like being around creative people.
That's it.
I like being around people who have a scientific mind, a creative mind, because when there's a problem, they don't cry about it. They don't bitch about it. What they do is they look at it and see, how can I solve this problem? How can I get around it? I love that when it came to production, because whenever you do a production, you always come across problems. You come across things that you didn't think would happen. And what it would do is it would force you to be creative. And you can come up with a lot of inventive ways to get around problems if your mindset is to get around the problem. What I notice that culture critics do is they want to put the final stamp and exclamation point on the fact that there is no solution. Solutions are foolhardy. Why are you even trying to find a solution? Because our people can't possibly do this. Our people can't possibly do that. Our people are always going to lose. Our people ain't shit. Everything negative that you can think about is what these people promote. And they make money.
Go ahead.
They make money off the problem.
Right.
So if you make money off the problem, what is your incentive to solve it?
Right.
And what were you going to say?
Doesn't that sound like doctors and shit? Like if they make money off of the problems that you have, why would they want to fix them? Right? Wouldn't that kind of similar to the same thing?
Yeah, it's called a profit motive and profit mechanism. It exists in a lot of things, and that's the reason why there's problems with a lot of these systems, because it's a false incentive to prevent you from solving problems. Because if you solve the problem, then you're not needed anymore.
Exactly.
And I noticed that just amongst our people, you know, you can call them culture critics, or you can just call them, you know, whatever you want to call them, just regular, ordinary black folks. They have a very negative perception, a negative opinion of their own people or their own people's ability to do anything. And it seems like they get pissed at somebody who actually hasn't been beaten into submission.
Right.
Like they look at you as if you're the problem. The fact that you haven't been beaten into submission is like, whoa, wait a minute, what's wrong with you? How come you don't see us as not being shit? And it's really a sad dynamic.
Definitely is.
It really is sad.
Definitely
it's like
is.
That's why this story was so inspirational to me, because you have this kid who's in a third world, basically, situation, living condition, but yet he was able to piece together a solution just on spare parts that surround him.
Right. He didn't moan.
Yeah, he never cried, never complained, I can't do this because he made it happen based on the things that were around him. And he found a solution. So my question is, what's our fucking excuse?
Niggas love to complain. Niggas worry and wane. They love to complain.
Yeah. I've always had a lot of positivity and energy, and I've never really felt like we couldn't accomplish something as a people. I never really wrote my people off and said, you know, black people ain't shit, they ain't never gonna do shit. I always was positive and thinking that all it takes is the right amount of people that want to do something and get shit done, and it'll get done. But I'm telling you, man, these past few years, black people have beaten me almost into submission.
Brother, I'm right there alongside you taking that beating, man. And it's so hard that every day I wake up with this great desire and dream that our people are going to one day wake up and we're going to come together and we're going to change everything. And then the harsh reality of just looking at what's going on around us always slaps me in my face and say, man, we ain't nowhere near thought of that. It's deep.
And you know what's really sad? The thing that makes it really sad is that I'm realistic. I'm not asking for the majority of our people to be waking up. It's not going to happen that way. I'm basically trying to gather together the people who are in these circles who claim to know what time it is, claim to know who their enemy is, and claim to want black power.
Right.
What's sad and what's really discouraging and what makes me weary and beat up is that most of the crap that I've had to deal with for the past few years have not come from regular black people. It hasn't come from the 85ers. The source of my pain and the source of my weariness has come from the freaking 5%.
It's crazy.
The people that are supposed to know what time it is, who continue to put their hands in their pockets and twiddle and whistle and do absolutely fucking nothing. And then when they get amongst each other, and this is the thing that really pisses me off. They get amongst each other. It's never a spirit of camaraderie and getting together with other people to solve problems. It's some egomaniacal bullshit where everybody's trying to be a little fucking dictator or a king.
Wow.
You know, it's like nobody's willing to put aside their bullshit and work collectively toward anything.
Nothing.
Even the people that know what time it is, even the so-called nationalists, the so-called Pan-Africanists, the people who are supposed to be the ones who know, what are they doing?
It's always, oh, I can't work with him because he does this, or I can't work with her because she does that. What the fuck what she does has to do with anything or what the program is you're supposed to be working on has to do with it. It's always somebody's personal business,
right,
that they have an issue with.
Right. You can't get together. You get, like I said, it's that analogy that I mention all the time, and people probably sick of it, but it is what it is. If you got 10 people in a room, one light bulb is on the floor and one working socket in the ceiling, and I close that door with those 10 people and I come back a week later, that room is still dark. That means nobody in that fucking room wanted that room to be with light.
Exactly.
That means that it was more important, your own individual bullshit, your own individual, like, I want to be accepted as being the one who put it inside the socket. All of this bullshit, you would rather the room be dark just so you can get your little bit of shine.
Fucking ridiculous.
And then we wonder why. We sitting back scratching our heads and wondering why, oh, well, how come people ain't following us?
Goddamn.
Gee, I wonder why.
Sit down. Right, exactly.
Anyway, let me bring a caller in because I'm starting to get pissed off. Last four digits, 8903. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace. This is Sister K. Calling out of New York.
Sister.
Okay.
Your phone's breaking up, sister.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this better? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay. All right. Peace to everyone. Sister K calling out of New York.
Peace, sister. How you doing, Sister K?
I'm well. How's everyone?
Everyone's great.
I've been better, but, you know, I'm hanging in there.
Well, actually, I can relate to how, you know, your brother's feel. But since, you know, this is a great topic, now I feel a little better. Because for the last couple, I've been going crazy, pretty much trying to figure out what's going on. It's like everywhere I turn, everyone's always whining, like, you know, some of what you described, and they're begging, and how come this is not happening, how come that's happening, and I'm like, why are we still crying and begging and not thinking of ways to better what's going on with our situation,
right.
Whatever it may be. Like, for example, just briefly, I was on Facebook, and I was just, you know, looking at, I was just monitoring a group, okay, and they were discussing how their children, they weren't picked for a lottery for kindergarten. So I'm looking at people's responses, and I'm like, what? And then it's kind of crazy because, well, first off, I homeschool my children for situations such as the ones that they were whining about, you know?
Right.
So I'm saying to myself, how come nobody mentioned any alternatives, you know, ways to solve this problem? How about homeschooling? So, you know, I'm watching everyone's comments and stuff, and then so I just posted up. I said, as an alternative. No one commented on that comment. No one liked it. Nothing. It's like they went over it. They just continued whining.
Because you gave the complainant the truth answer, and they didn't want the answer. They wanted somebody to add more so they could complain about.
Right.
That's what it
and
was.
I'm just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this, because since I've homeschooled my children, I've been homeschooling them for almost 4 years now. My life has been so much easier. So all of that stress that they're putting themselves through, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Come on, guys. There's a better way. But
First
how
of
come
all,
you're
first of all, the mere fact that you would have to put your child through a lottery to get some schooling alone should let you know something's wrong with you. I'm not.
Right.
What? I got to put my child's name in for a lottery to get some schooling? That's all right. I don't need your schooling. That's why. That would be my immediate answer. I don't need your schooling. I'll figure it out myself.
Mhm. And people and their excuses were, oh, how am I supposed to explain to my child that he wasn't accepted or she wasn't accepted? I'm like, what? I'm like,
oh boy.
And I'm looking at their comments and I'm like going on.
How am I supposed to? Yo, Mark, you know what this reminds me of? That reminds you know what that reminds me of, Mark? When I think it was KFC or one of them was giving away free grilled chicken. And people were going to the chicken spot, and they ran out of chicken. And people on the news actually said, how am I going to feed my family?
Yeah.
Yo, they was on the news, how am I going to feed my family? Really? The $5 chicken that these people are giving away, since they don't have no more, now you can't feed your family no more. I couldn't. Yeah. And it was our people. And it was our people.
Yo, son, let me tell you a little story. This is based on my job. I work in the power company. I work for electric, steam, gas emergency and stuff. So there was an outage in Washington Heights. And now keep in mind, everybody had power. They had lights. They had electricity. The only thing they didn't have was gas. I'm on the phone with a lady, and she asked a question. She says, how am I supposed to feed my kids? I said absolutely nothing. There was dead silence. And she said, are you there? I said, yeah, I'm here. And she said, you're not going to answer me? I said, ma'am, are you honestly asking me how you're supposed to feed your children? Is that a serious question? So you don't have gas cooking on your stove, and now all of a sudden all your creativity has gone out of your mind. So I guess you don't have a microwave.
Right.
There's no way that you can come up with, or maybe you can make a salad. You don't even need to cook that. I mean, are you serious? This is the type of people we dealing with. If anything major was to happen in New York, it would be like The Walking Dead. People would start eating each other that day.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't have any survival skills.
Yes. God forbid anything tragic happens in this city. It's going to be zombies.
You have homeless people who can survive not being inside of a house. Yet you have a person who, I don't have no power, and you crying like a bitch because you don't have some power for 12 hours. That's going to, so what? Your family's lives are all over?
I remember when the last blackout we had a couple of years back, in 2004, I think it was a 3 or 304. And I remember people on my block saying, how are we going to get through this? I was like, dog, you don't even know how long the lights is going to be off, and you really already giving up? Like, for real? So what I did was, the smart man that I am, because we ain't got no food, we ain't got nothing. I said, okay, so let's do this. I'm going to pull my grill from the backyard. I'm going across the street to the bodega, who's getting ready to lose his food anyway because it ain't going to be good. I'm going to have him give up the food that he has there, and we're going to cook it on my grill. And we cook, so I'm feeding the block now. Everybody's eating. And everybody's like, yo, thank you so much. Yo, how did you come up with, you do survival?
You're a genius.
I'm just like survivalist. I'm like, hell no, I know how to light a damn grill. I've been lighting grills all my damn life. Like, come on.
You're a genius, Dev. I don't know how you did it. How did you ever come up with that concept?
It just popped in my head, and I just luckily it worked.
I don't know how a person how is it that people who can sleep outside on benches can survive, and yet you have somebody that's inside of an apartment, but your power's off. Your power's off, but now all of a sudden you just can't live. You can't survive.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Any little bit of inconvenience, and these people lose their goddamn mind. It's amazing, man. But I tell you, I've been beat up so much by Negroes. I need a vacation, man. We gotta go somewhere. We gotta do something because I'm losing it.
Yeah, I feel you, brother. I'm right along with you because it's just as much as on you as it on me because every day I bang my head against the wall like I can't believe this shit. Like I really can't believe that if it comes down to the come down, we wouldn't know how to get past it.
Right.
You know.
And Kay, you know what else is really like? Maybe you can relate to this. What's really, really frustrating. See, ignorant people don't frustrate me because they're ignorant. I know they're ignorant, so there's no mystery there. I understand what's going on. What bothers me is you get people who have the skills and who have the knowledge, and they get amongst people get amongst their peers, and they can't even get along with them. They can't even cooperate with them because they got so much ego.
Right. Mhm.
Like they so wrapped up in their own personality, and I'm so great, and I'm the king of consciousness that nothing can get done. They can't work with nobody.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I've been running across those type of Negroes for the past few years, man. It's like a pattern. It goes like this. This is how it goes, Kay. I got a YouTube channel, right?
Okay.
Some miscellaneous dude will hear my videos and be, yeah, brother, I know exactly what you're saying. Yo, reach out to me. Let's talk. Let's build. Blah, 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 blah. So I do that. I reach out, build with them. Everything's cool. They come into our groups. They get into the cipher. And then the problems start. Now, all of a sudden, they calling everybody a Negro. Oh, you niggas ain't real. You ain't about this. Da-da-da-da-da. And then I try to be peacemaking, calm things down. Then they start flipping on me. Oh, you ain't keeping it real. I thought this was real. And then I tear their ass a new one, take them out the group, block them and delete them. And the next thing you know, they butt hurt and they talking about, oh, this dude ain't shit. He never was shit. I'm like, and then just rinse, recycle, repeat. Just go through the same thing. It's going to be one guy, another guy, another guy, another guy. It's just a continuous process of people who I don't know what their purpose is other than to piss me off and make me frustrated. And they're doing a pretty good job at that.
Yeah. Guess you got to put a wall up and block them.
Like I told how all the time. You just gotta learn how to act like them niggas don't even exist.
Exactly.
You act like those motherfuckers is invisible. Excuse me. Like somebody's in the room. Please, just ignore them. Because I tell you one thing. Like I said, when you're a truth teller, dog, nobody's gonna never agree with you because nobody wants to accept the truth. Nobody. People don't want the truth of anything. They want the watered down version that makes them feel comfortable. You can't tell a person that that if you don't take care of that scar, it's going to turn into infection. Yo, don't say that. Motherfucker, I'm telling you that's what's going to happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Well, just say it might go bad, but don't say it's going to turn into that because you don't know that. Okay, then, you know what? It just is what it is.
And you know how you know you're dealing with those type of people? Whenever you start talking about solutions and solution-oriented content, the first thing they do is they go with the yeah, but.
Yeah, but. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but.
More
the yeah, but
things a little bit.
So they tell you can't do that or something crazy comes out. You can't do that.
Right.
I'm doing it now.
Every time I do something, I always wait for that person. Like, how you gonna do that? Oh, okay. Well, I'm doing it. I don't know. I'm doing it, but what's the name?
I don't believe in can't.
Right. I don't believe in can't.
Creative people rarely believe in can't, and creative people rarely will accept that they cannot do something.
Right. Only thing creative people believe in is done. It's done.
Right.
And this is how you do it. We got to find a way to figure out how to get around this problem so we can get it done. That's it.
Right.
They told Spike Lee when he did his very first movie, you're never going to be a black filmmaker. Are you kidding me? He's 30 films in now. But he's never going to be a black filmmaker. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And had he believed that back then, we wouldn't have the films that we had from him.
Right.
We was never gonna be freed from slaves ever. I mean, how could that possibly happen?
Right. It just is what it is. You know what? So that's those people. You gotta let them be who they are. Let they dumbasses sit back and keep saying, you can't do it. Okay, you doing it, but you can't finish it. Oh, you finish it, but you can't do it again.
And you know what's funny? I think one of the most frustrating aspects, and I see you, Minister, I'm going to bring you in a minute. One of the most frustrating aspects of dealing with in the circles that I deal with and trying to explain things to people is I keep repeating myself over and over and over and over and over again, and people pretend like they don't understand what I'm saying. It's very, very, very frustrating. So I'm going to say this. This is a little off topic, but maybe it might be on topic. If you are not African and you consider yourself a Native American, this is what I have to say for you. I've said this 1,000 times, but I guess I have to say a little bit more. We are talking to and we are trying to communicate with descendants of the transatlantic slave trade. If you are not a part of that demographic, go to your teepee, smoke your peace pipe, and congregate with your other fellow Native American brothers and sisters and figure out how you can get your country back from the white man. And stay out of African business.
Right.
If it has nothing to do with you, why are you involved in this fucking discussion?
Right.
I'm not going back and forth with this. Well, we was here first. If you were here first, stay here and fight for your rights here in America. Me, on the other hand, I'm dealing with descendants of the transatlantic slave trade who were dragged over here against our will and basically have our culture and everything about us ripped from us, and the reason why we're in the situation that we're in today, which is kind of curious, because if you weren't a part of that, how come you exhibiting the same characteristics as we are? If it had nothing to do with you, that slavery thing had nothing to do with you, how come you are exhibiting the same characteristics as somebody suffering from post-traumatic slave syndrome? I guess that's just a coincidence. Okay.
It's a coincidence.
Kay, can you stay with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm going to bring in our brother, good minister Dawood. What's up, brother?
Peace, big brothers. How y'all doing?
Peace.
I'm good.
What's going on, brother?
I'm maintaining, man. I'm trying. I can't front. My nerves is kind of stressed right now, and you know why. But
without a doubt.
Hanging in there.
I'm trying. And look, I'm gonna keep you from off the ledge, brother. I'm gonna keep you from off the ledge. You know what I'm saying?
You are a designated person to do that, Jeff.
Yeah, brother. Hey, man. You know I'm gonna always do that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes some of us can look at certain things and be like, yeah, okay, to hell with you, Negroes. You're not gonna stop me and my brothers. So keep it up.
No doubt.
What we'll do is we'll take you to the edge, and we'll act like we're getting ready to jump and let your ass jump first.
We're like, all right, you go first.
No, it's 1, 2, 3, and we step back and you jump. No, y'all left me. Yeah, we've been left you a long time ago, buddy.
Word.
The floor is yours, brother.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry I'm late. I had to deal with something family-wise. But the title is excellent for me, being culture critics versus problem solvers, because culture critics, to me, so let me rewind. Problem solvers to me in the STEM world, being science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So I really wish we had Neo on the line, because he could give that a scientific explanation. But from what I know, being a person that's quasi involved in the STEM field, people in the STEM field to solve problems always use equations, whether it's mathematical equations, whether it's logical equations, because simple mathematics is using the known to find the unknown. I think that culture critics try to use the unknown to try to explain why we don't know about the known or why we can't do the known. And that's the difference between the two of us. Because and I tried to tell one of these Negroes that was coming at us earlier last night this. to build a nation, a modern technological nation that is, industrialized and is built off of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, that is different than us going over there, getting a plot of land, all of us, and homesteading. That's the difference people don't understand. The terminology for what you're trying to do is homesteading. The terminology for what we're trying to do is nation building. Because when you're building a nation, it requires a lot more money, it requires a lot more people, it requires a lot more planning, and any fool could tell you that just sitting home at your computer and drawing up documents is nowhere near serious in trying to build a nation. You can organize a travel agent's trip doing so, but you cannot build a nation. You can even, as far as the good brother, and I hope that I don't butcher his name, but the brother Niusi Mungu had said in the group, you can't even really homestead with what this individual was proposing. The only thing you can really do is fund a round trip. And here's the thing, brother Harlequin, brother Dev, you guys got to correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm pretty sure y'all traveled more than me. I know for a fact that at one point, a noted Nation of Islam leader was talking about going to Mecca, and that freaking trip back and forth was $6,000.
It was.
So therefore, how can you go to Africa for $1,500?
And first of all, when I seen that number, I was like, "What airline are you going? Bufu Airlines?" Because the one-way ticket is $1,500
exactly
to Africa.
Exactly. So that right there had me scratching my head after I kind of cleared my head. I was like,
second of all, when I knew it was bullshit, brother, when he said he booked the tickets in advance. You cannot book a plane ticket a year in advance. Cannot do it.
Oh, there you go. Well, you know what, though? Maybe he booked the Anita Baker concert a year and a half in advance.
Yeah, man, that's what he did.
Because if you start now and you go to Radio City Music Hall, you could book Anita Baker next year, but you can't book no damn trip to no Africa. So,
no, you cannot.
So the thing for me is that I just think that people need to slow down. If you're new and you're thinking about joining BAIO, and then you're sitting here and you see that we've been in existence for a little while, and you're asking yourself, well, why don't we have the nation yet? Then you're pretty much not the kind of people that we want.
Yeah.
Because that means that you do not comprehend the scale of what we're trying to do. And I'll give you an example. I'm a part, and I think Allah willing, I'm going to have these three sisters on my show tomorrow, but I'm a part of what's called a mastermind group, and I have these three beautiful sisters in the group. And they have a family business. One of them is a graphic designer, one of them is a baker, and the other one is a natural healer in the mode of a Dr. Sadie. And we're all basically coming together to help each other launch our businesses. Just the undertaking of launching your own business takes a lot more planning, thinking, resources, networking than to just come up with a plan, get a couple of people, and to go someplace. When you talk about building a nation, a modern nation, I don't know if you bought it, Holla, but this weekend, Captain America Civil War became available, and I bought it. And I sat there on Labor Day, man, and I watched that bad boy twice. And you know damn well what I was watching. I was watching every scene that had to do with the Black Panther, his father, and Wakanda.
Yes.
And I was saying to myself, wow, I remember how I felt when I saw this the first time. I mean, when you feel like jumping off the ledge, watch that. Because
could you imagine when the Black Panther movie come out, how that's going to be? Oh, my God.
Oh, yes. And that's next year, man. So you got a good year coming up next year. So I thought about that, and I got electrified because I was saying to myself, this is what we're fighting for. This is what we're fighting for here. We're fighting to have something equivalent to a Wakanda in the modern time. And when you as a Negro would sit there and say that's just a comic book or a movie and we can't have that, again, you are not the kind of person that needs to be in our group and be with us. So I think that this is one thing my father said to me when I was younger, when he was trying to train me into going into business. He said, son, everybody can't be your customer, and you have to qualify people to be your customer. I think that if you're going to be in a BIO and be around us, then you're going to have to qualify yourself to be around us, because we had a come one, come all kind of policy before, but I think that what we're starting to see is a lot of people really don't comprehend the size and scale of what we're trying to do. And you may be getting shocked or scared about it. So you have to, it's no hard feelings if you do. But here's the problem. The problem is if you see the size and scale and you're shocked by it, but then you try to come in a group and you try to minimize us to your scale. That's what the problem is going to be. Mm-hmm. Because we're not going to reduce what we're doing because you have a much smaller view of what is really needed. We want the equivalent of a Wakanda or even better in the modern time. And that's why we need to collect as many people as we can. When you say by yourself, if we say, okay, we need engineers, we need mathematics, and you say, well, I'm an engineer. Okay, so we need a scientist. Well, I'm a scientist. To me, that means you're retarded. because we don't need one. We need thousands, boy. We need thousands. Right. And when you sit there and you say, oh, that's me, I'm a scientist. That's me. What the hell kind of... I can't even... I'm trying not to curse on this radio show. I'm really not. But I'm looking at this whole thing, and I'm like, you are serious? You think that all we need is you? So what are you, like Galactus or Unicron?
The Thanos.
So what?
The Thanos. That's who he is. He's Thanos.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You're going to change it. Here's the ill thing, though. You're going to change it to whatever we need as long as we give you your money, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, when your plan is everybody, if your plan is based on, listen, I can get this done if everybody gives me your money, then you don't really have a plan.
Exactly.
And Richard Pryor said it best. Make me rich. Yep. Velvet Jones, make me rich. So that's how I want you to do. Make me rich. Give me your money. I'm gonna put everything that you want to do. Just give me your money first, and I'll make sure it gets done. Mm-hmm. The nation will be built in 5 minutes. Give me your money.
So now, I mean, let's talk about the horror stories that we've heard. You know, some of them being posted in the inbox group. You know, you got people that go over there that went over there by themselves, got robbed. All sorts of things got freaking taken for money, and I'm not putting those people down in any way, shape, or form. I actually, those are my brothers and my sisters. But what I'm saying is that as many horror stories as you've heard of people who have gone to Africa, either by themselves or even by a group, and have not had a collective due diligence done, don't you think that we need to move as cautiously and as methodically as we possibly can? Because you're putting yourself in another country, in another nation, where you cannot really expect justice to happen to people, because what kind of justice are you taking over there with you?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Until we put up our borders and we claim our nationhood and our sovereignty, then we are not able to exact justice on anybody, so we are free game to anybody. And I think that this is one of the things that these Negroes don't get to their thick heads, is that if you go over to any nation, I don't care if you don't want to build it in Africa, but that's what we're going to build it at, because that's what makes the most sense. But if you go over to any nation and you don't carry your form of justice and your system of justice with you, you're under theirs, and you haven't done the proper negotiations to give you remedy if something wrong is done to you, it's suicide.
It's suicide, straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm just going to follow you over into a foreign land and believe that I'm good.
And I'm really getting tired of, I call these Negroes, you remember that movie, John Q., where homeboy was trying to save his son's life, and he was at his wit's end, and his wife just said, well, just do something.
Just do something, right?
Just do something. Like, wow, that's really productive. Like, I'm not just going to just do something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what people just want to just act. And the thing that they hate so much, what they call you guys is talking. You know what that talking is called? It's called socializing.
Right.
It's called getting to know each other. I'm not giving money to no Negro just because you got a piece of paper and I'm going to follow you to another country. I don't know who the hell you are. I never met you, never seen you.
Exactly.
And you don't want to go through the process of getting to know us, but yet you want all our money. Get the hell out of here, man.
First of all, First of all, the funny thing about when I seen him putting the names of people that he said was going with him, I was like, well, I'll be at that airport, and none of them jokers going to be getting on that plane that I know. I know Mark ain't going to be getting nigga. Nah, nigga, you not going with him. Who the hell is this dude? Where you know this dude from? You going to follow this dude to Africa? Are you kidding me? Like, you know what I'm saying? I see the ministers, I said, yeah, right, you ain't getting on that plane, bro. But no, we going to know you're not. You're not getting on that plane. It's not going to even happen.
Yeah, we definitely gonna listen to Devin, not you, Negro. It's gonna be like Devin's gonna be like the Ant-Man turned Giant Man in the Civil War.
Exactly. You done lost your damn mind. First of all, the mere fact that you trying to lure my brothers is gonna get you killed alone. The lure my brothers, because I already know something's wrong. You don't even know my brothers, but you want to lure my brothers to another country on your whim, and nobody knows nothing about you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. And I'm supposed to believe that this is some sincere shit? Get the hell out of here.
No.
Yeah. And you come into a foreign, it's like if I come into any of your house and you open up the door and I just barge past you and I go straight to your kitchen and go through your refrigerator, yo, what we eating tonight?
Right, what we eating tonight. Or better yet, go on my refrigerator, look in there and say, where's the lobster at? Y'all ain't got no lobster? Well, this is some bullshit. So y'all go get some lobster. Who the fuck are you? Wait a minute, who's this dude that walked through my door, went in my refrigerator, and I ain't got no lobster? He's sending me to the store to go get some. That's what that dude is.
He asking you questions. He asking you questions about why the meal is not prepared for him.
Exactly. You know, there's a name for this kind of behavior that I love. It's called social awkwardness. And I can remember years ago, I had a new member. See, what I do as a minister, because this is what my teacher taught me, is I always try to take, members of my temple out. You know what I'm saying? Whether they be new or old and stuff like that, take them out to eat and stuff like that. So in any event, everybody on this line knows that if somebody takes you out, you just met this person. It doesn't matter how beneficial they are. You do not go to the menu and order the most expensive thing on the menu.
Right.
Because you don't know this person. And if they're paying for you, you mean like even if somebody, I feel very uncomfortable if somebody was taking me out to Red Lobster. Or let's just say we was going to Mango Seed and y'all was like, minister, order anything on the menu. And like there's a $125 steak on the menu. And there's no way I'm going to be like, I want that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's just no way. But either way, this gentleman did just that. He ordered the most expensive thing on the menu. And the whole time, everybody was looking at him like he was crazy. So at the end, because, you have protocol in the nation, you have captain, lieutenant, minister, stuff like that. Brother, when you have a captain, you a minister, generally, y'all have a very close relationship. They say, like, captain and the minister is basically like husband and wife, so to speak. So he already knew what time it was. So as soon as we left, he pulled the brother aside and said, listen, man, we're glad you're with us. You know what I'm saying? We're overjoyed that you want to be. But listen, what you just did shows that we got a lot of work to do. He said, what do you mean? Because you ain't had enough social training to know you don't order the most expensive damn thing on the menu when you just met somebody. And so for me, when you come up in somebody else's group and the first thing that you want to do, not only do you start posting your plan and posting dots like somebody better answer, but then you then say, well, listen, I have this plan, and these people are going. You start plugging dudes' names in who didn't give you an okay yet. To me, that is like you ordering the most expensive thing on the menu because, number one, we don't know you yet, but number two, now you lying. Lying. You are saying that somebody gave you the okay. Listen, going to North Carolina, to me, from New York, hey, listen, it may not be that far, but that's an undertaking. Going to Africa is a huge undertaking for me if I don't know you. It is. If I don't know you. And plus, if you're going to, listen, you got to get your passport. You got to clear that with customs. They got to make sure that you ain't no terrorist, all this other stuff. It's not that easy. So the thing for me is this. You may be, you got my money, so let's go. But in my judgment, I'm like, okay, are you on some kind of watch list? Because it's not that you should trust me, it's should I trust you? Do I know that you've been stealing? Do I know that you've been robbing and there's warrants out for you? And the minute we go on this plane, everybody going to be arrested and we're going to be on the 6 o'clock news? I don't know.
Exactly.
So it's so many factors that point to the fact that this dude is socially awkward because, listen, we know each other in the BAIO. We know exactly. I mean, we've told each other our secrets, things like that. We know a lot about each other. We don't know everything, but we know a lot about each other. So we know how we moving when we move. When you come in and we don't know you, we don't know how you moving. And I'm not putting my freaking status on the line for somebody I don't know if you done robbed the bank in New Orleans and now we here and get on a plane and go to Africa. Come on now.
Right. Oh, yo, do me a favor. Carry this bag for me, Mr. Dawu, when you go on the plane. What's in the bag? Don't worry about what's in the bag. Just take it on the plane for me. Just take it on the plane for me.
Word up.
So,
I remember hearing a radio show a couple of weeks ago. Not a couple of weeks ago, I'm going to say a year ago, with a good brother that I really, really love in the conscious community. Like, I really, really dig this dude. And he said he jumped on a plane with $30,000 of his own money. The freaking police locked him up and took the money.
you're damn right, because, first of all, you can't go on a plane with no more than $9,999. I know for a fact because it happened to me. So, he was an idiot. Yo, you cannot go $1 over $10,000. You cannot have that much cash on an airplane. I know that for a fact because I was flying to Atlanta to buy a car. This is in 1992, post 9/11, before 9/11.
Right.
1992. I get on the plane. I had about $12,000 cash on me. I get on the plane. Let me go through the thing. They let me do all that stuff. Before I boarded the plane, they pulled me off the plane and asked me to empty my pockets. I pulled out my money. They took me in a room, counted my money, and said, "You cannot take this money on the plane."
Wow.
And I'm like, why can't they? You cannot take over $10,000 cash on a plane. The rest of the money I had to take. I had to take the what was less than $10,000. The rest of it I had to send. It was because back then it wasn't all like, well, we got to see where you got this money from. Another, but they didn't put me through that because it was before 9/11. Had it been after 9/11, or I probably would have never seen my money again. So I had to take the rest of the money and send it. So he was an idiot. He was an idiot. If you do want to take that type of cash, you have to declare it. You have to declare it when you come into the airport. Look, I have $1 million cash, and I'm taking it on the airplane. Then they will allow you to take it. But you cannot just take it on the plane.
Okay.
Well, why wouldn't he just put it in the bank and then pull it out at the equivalent bank?
Yeah, that's my question. Why are you walking around with $5,000 in cash?
Because he's an idiot. He's an idiot. You're not. You think he was a pro athlete? You think he was a pro athlete?
No, he was a brother from the conscious community.
Yeah, he was an idiot. He was an idiot. First of all, when you go through the scanner, it don't matter where you put the money at. They're gonna know you have it because you put it in your bag. You put it in your bag. When it goes through the scanner, they're gonna see it. If you got it on your person, when you go through the scanner, they're gonna see it. So, dude, you can't hide it.
I bet you he's one of these anti-technology people where he didn't wants to protect his privacy and all this other crap. Privacy is played out, man. This is the new millennium. Get with the technology. I'm not carrying $25,000 in cash. I'm going to put that crap in a bank and make a wire transfer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Get
off of that BS, man. Come on, man.
That's why you ever notice when you go to the airport, they always got cash in places where you can change your money or your currency over. That's what it's for. So you don't have to carry that shit on the plane.
Yep.
Because God forbid, you're on the plane and somebody see that you got that money on and they rob your ass.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, that's very
good. He was a drug game that pretty much ruined this kind of thing because
that was another reason. Jokers was bringing money back and forth across the planes.
Exactly.
Like all this cash.
I remember when I was young in Brooklyn, my dad, he had a locksmith shop on Fulton Street between Clinton and Washington for like 30 years. Mm-hmm. And I used to go out there. My dad, this is during the crack era where TNT was out there and stuff like that. So my dad was showing me all the stuff that he knew that people couldn't do because, being in security, you learn, like, what criminals do and what the police say you can't do. And, man, because of that crack era, you can't get a money order for a certain amount of money anymore.
Right.
Your P.O. box is subject to random search. If anybody even gets a little bit of suspicion on you, you know what I'm saying? And now you're telling me this about the plane. I think all of this has to do with the drug game. Either the drug game or the drug game combined with money laundering.
Yeah, the money laundering too. Definitely.
It definitely has to do with it. First of all, IRS wants a proof of every damn thing, so they want to know everything you do.
Yep.
Everything you do.
Yep.
To the damn
$30,000, man. Come on now. So. So that's what I'm saying. Is like
if he was smart, he would took 2 other people with him and split the money between them, and he'd have been all right. But
No,
he knew nothing
yeah.
about it. He just figured
Good idea.
he could just do it. He could just do it.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you another example. When I was in Ghana, like I said, I was in Ghana. I was a multi-millionaire because our money is just ridiculous over there. And I'm running around with a knapsack with like about $2 million cash in this knapsack. I'm giving away money because I got so much Ghana money. You know what I'm saying? Just taking care of people. And it's only, in our money, it's probably no more than $3,000 or $4,000, but it's just a lot of money. When I get to the airport, I just gave the bag to somebody. Here, take this bag. Because I ain't going through all this headache about dealing with this Trump-ass change that I got. You know, coming back on the plane for this change to figure out what it was. Here, take this money. It just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. I'm telling you, you gotta be. You cannot be playing with these, especially on the FCC. They'll tear your ass up.
Joe,
you can't take aspirin on the plane no more.